Howdy. So, the Milky Way update has dropped, and I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. So basically, there has been one change that's really affected how I do plots, and one thing that revealed that was kind of a pretty big mistake that I had made. So, first of all, let's talk about what is kind of not working anymore. So, plane smelters. This little layout I have here, this is my 66 smelter layout in the big plots in the second fault zone right here. So this thing is no longer going to work because it only has 4 inputs, and that means that it will not be able to handle the full throughput of double speed plane smelters, because that would give us over 120 items per second, which is the total number of items that this thing designed. So that means that we're probably just going to fall back on my 24 smelter design in the standard plot size. So I don't really have any here because I stopped building them because I viewed this, but they're this size and they have 24 smelters and 6 per line, so more than enough bandwidth to get through that. So I started using this design primarily for the interstellar logistics stations. And you can see I don't really have any other on the planet. These are all just planetary stations, and these are the interstellar. Oh, and by the way, this is my previous layout, and this is like layout 5, I think. And so my next one I'm going to be working on is layout 6. And I kind of wanted to show off what I'm thinking about layout 6, because I don't plan to. Normally I go through and I test these things for about 20 hours and make sure they all work, and then I update the Steam guide with all that. And I'm not going to do that until blueprints are available, because that's just too much time. However, I did want to show what I was proposing, because this is probably a time a lot of people are starting over with new planets, and I thought that this is, I'm pretty confident this is going to work, but I wanted to get the ideas out there. Okay, so the way this works right now with the 66 plots, 66 smelter plots in the second tier. I actually have 20 of these big plots I can fit. I got these big gaps all around them. I've been filling them with all sorts of things. I got some fractures here. I've got some ray receivers here. You can see here I got some guns. I don't remember what they're called. And I can fit 20 of these plots around. And each hemisphere, that gives me 40 total plots of 66, so I can fit 26,040 smelters on a planet. With the new thing, if you just straight up took, I can fit 224 smelter plots here. You don't have to be smelter plots, but just for comparison's sake. So basically that works, and I'll show you on my other planet where I've got the layout set up. You got one logistics station here, one plot here, and they just go here, and that gives you 32 of the plots, and so you have 64 total on the planet times 24, and I think that was a little over 3,000. So you get about 20% increase in smelters, and you completely pretty much lose these gaps, so you can't do anything else with this space. And also, I can't put the interstellar logistics stations there. But that was kind of my big mistake. Actually, you can. I don't know why I got in my head that you cannot place interstellar logistics stations 25 grid spaces apart, but you can. And when I was working out what to do with this new thing, I discovered that I can. You can't always. It's sort of borderline, but definitely in many, many places you can. And so what I've been working on is figuring out where I can do that. So I'm going to head over to my other planet where I've been playing around with the layout to kind of show off what I'm thinking to do. So basically for this design, I'm switching over to almost all interstellar logistics stations, and this has a really positive impact for kind of my design play. So I don't know how many you're going to end up with. You're going to end up with hundreds and hundreds of interstellar logistics stations, one per plot. And what I really like about that is it very much makes each plot kind of even more modular. It's part of just a general, complete system-wide network. So if you're producing circuit boards on one planet, it can be shipped to another planet, another solar system, as the need arises. And because of the different capacity volumes of the freighters and the drones, you'll serve local needs first, and only when you expand beyond local needs up to 1,000 for your freighter capacity, we actually start exporting them. So that seems like a really great way to work, and I'm excited to give that a try because I had wanted every planet to be able to export everything it produces, but it's pretty tricky to do that with just those 40 interstellar logistics stations that I have the old design. All right, so here's my new layout, and here's the equator right here. This one's actually a little bit off a line, but I was just playing out with the layout there. So in order to get this to work, these are all 25 grid spaces apart, just like the other ones. But you can see this is actually 12 up from the equator, and this is 12. So these are 24 spaces apart. So as you move away from the equator, these are 24 spaces apart. And the reason that is when you get up to this here, the third row, you can only fit, this is the very furthest way you can get to the equator and put 25 apart east-west. And if you start going beyond 25 east-west, then you can't fit the full 40 around the planet. So by just this is 24, you can see this is one above the grid line, and this is exactly on the grid line. You can still fit the 40 here. So now I have 6 plots in the middle zone of the planet, and you can have 40 of them around the planet for a full 240 plots there. And then up here in the second zone, grid lines on? No. So in the second zone, you have 2 plots. So there's one here, and then up here in the third zone, you've got 3 plots. And everything up here has been interstellar logistics stations. Beyond that, I start using planetary logistics stations. And these pretty much, these can be whatever plots you want. Everything seems to work there. I haven't done every single layout, but I've done, basically assemblers are the most susceptible to crunch. And these seem to work fine here. But they don't work here. So this is something where you cannot use assemblers, but you can use smelters. And I also tried out, you can kind of see my designs here with chemical factories and what are those things called? Fusion plants, particle colliders there. The power things also work. They're a little tricky. Actually, I'm not positive they work. I didn't actually hook up any. These might be too close together. It's not connecting. Well, anyway. So, not sure if that's going to work or not. And then upwards of there, these are basically the regular planetary systems. You can't fit these 25 apart because these grid lines are too small. They're only 3 per section. So that doesn't work. So this is supposed to be a 3 input, 1 output assembler plot. These kind of fit here. I don't think you get 20 or 16 of these. This is now one of the crunch plots that can feed it. This is going to be a 2 input, 1 output crunch plot. And up here is sort of my mall, where basically these things are building buildings. And obviously you don't need to do that on every planet, and you just cut these off. And everything above this is pretty much reserved for energy production. So you can put that up here at the poles. Also, you can kind of see down here, there is one gap, and you can fit, well, this is actually kind of interesting, I want to mention. Anyway, you can fit 110 ray receivers around the planet at this point. So if you do the two sides, you get 220 ray receivers, which should give you, I don't know, it's 2.6 something gigawatts of power if you're inside of the Dyson sphere radius. If you're not inside, you're probably gonna get a consistent 1 gigawatt or something. Certainly nothing to sneeze at, but probably not enough. There's not really a great way to get gravity lenses in here. I've tried some thoughts about that. Obviously, you just have a plot with nothing but a logistics station that just feeds lines into here, and that will work. There's space for a line. Do I have one? Yeah, so you can just have a little space for the line feeding into these things as it goes around the planet, and that would give you probably over 5 gigawatts of power. So a lot. You can also fit antimatter stuff here, so there's space for that. Because of the changes to the, while we're talking about gaps, the changes to these things being 24, that means there should still be space between them to fit in wind turbines and solar panels. You could still fit them here. They'll be really tightly packed. And I am actually interested in the new, copy paste thing to actually lay out the solar panels. I've really avoided them because they're just so time consuming to line. I also didn't want to mention when I dragged out the, hold on. You can kind of see here, these are 9 spaces apart, and these are 10 spaces apart. These are the ones that were produced when I dragged them out. I can't get the 9. It won't let me shrink down. It always does 10 apart. So that's kind of annoying. If you do 10 apart, you get 100 per planet, 100 per hemisphere, so 200 per planet, versus the 110 if you put them 9 apart. So it's up to you if you want to take the extra time. It's obviously not a huge difference. Anyway, here you still have the full 5-face gap between plots here. Up here, some of these are designs that I've been working on that basically, these are 3 input, 1 output back to the interstellar logistics station. So these are completely contained 3 inputs. I think I might see if I can rotate this because I'd rather, it's already sort of a strained, like this one can't fit anything in between it. But if I turn it this way, you already sort of can't do it on north-south, so it seems like it's a better option. You leave the east-west gap big enough, because, maybe it is 21 in all directions. No, it's a little short there. Alright, well, anyway. And this is a chemical layout, which is, again, 3 inputs, 1 output, all back to the interstellar logistics station, and 22 by 22 plot, which is pretty much what I had before, except there's no helper station anymore because I can't fit helper stations. And down here, this is one of the commenters on the guide. Pi of Doom 2000 showed off a plan to do a 3-assembler, 1-input plot. I'm just going to walk around this. This was really, he gave me a couple pictures. I'm not sure I did exactly what he wanted or exactly how he did it, but I think I managed to get this thing set up. It took a while. It's quite complicated. So this is basically, normally I have 4 outputs, 4 lines for each output. Here I have 4 lines for 1 output, 3 lines for 2 outputs and inputs, and I got 2 things coming back in. So I can handle 60 per second production inside of these things, and I don't think there's any 3 input designs that are really going to push that, but I got some output lines that are obviously covering 10 machines, so that's going to come close to that, and I've got some input lines that are covering 10 machines as well. So they have to be able to deliver, they can only deliver 3 per second per machine, but again, at 3 inputs, there's not anything there. There's some 2 inplots that go that fast, but they don't have this problem. They have 4, so they have more than enough bandwidth for that. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show off here. This is going to give you, again, this is a fairly radical change from what I had before, but it gives you lots and lots of interstellar logistics stations. All these plots can basically export anywhere in the cluster, and I really am excited to do this, but I'm not going to do this until they get blueprints up and running, either through mods or through the game itself, because I have laying these things out so many hundreds of times. I don't want to do it again. I want to do it a couple more times and just copy and paste, and I got really addicted to that. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I might play around and get these designs hardened up, but that's probably while I'm doing it. But I wanted to get you guys this idea, and I hope it works. If it doesn't, please leave a comment in the Steam guide, or I guess leave a comment on this video, and I will try to address it. All right, well, thank you very much.